They go to their separate rooms to contemplate the changing of their lives. How the world can change. It can change like that, due to one little word, marry. See a palace rise from a two-room flat, due to one little word, marry. And the old despair that was often there suddenly ceases to be. For you wake one day, look around and say, somebody wonderful married me.
How the world can change, it can change like that, due to one little word, marry. See a palace rise from a two-room flat, due to one little word, marry. And the old despair that was often there suddenly ceases to be. For you wake one day, look around and say, somebody wonderful,
Somebody wonderful
married me.
At a party to celebrate the engagement, Herr Schultz entertains with a song. There's one word you have to know to understand the song, a Jewish word, mieskeit. Mieskeit means an ugliness. Mieskeit means funny looking. Mieskeit means mieskeit, mieskeit. Once upon a time there was a mieskeit, mieskeit. Looking in the mirror he would say, what an awful shock. I got a face that could stop a clock. Mieskeit, mieskeit. What's the good denying I'm a mieskeit, mieskeit. God up in his heaven left him out on a shaky limb. He put a mieskeit on him. Listen, he grew up, even mieskeits grow up. And soon in the cheder, that means Hebrew school, he sat beside this little girl. And when he asked her her name, she replied, I'm Pearl. He ran to the Zeder, that means grandfather, and said in that screechy voice of his, you told me I was the homeliest. Well, Gramps, you're wrong. Pearlin. Mieskeit, mieskeit. No one ever saw a bigger mieskeit, mieskeit. Everywhere a flaw, maybe that is the reason why I'm going to love her until I die. Mieskeit, mieskeit. Oh, is it a pleasure? She's a mieskeit, mieskeit. She's the one I'll treasure, for I thought there could never be a bigger mieskeit than me. Listen to what happened. So they were married, and in a year she turned and smiled. I'm afraid I am going to have a child. 9 months she carried, worrying how that child would look, and all the cousins were worried too. But what a turn fate took. Gorgeous, gorgeous. They produced a baby that was gorgeous, gorgeous. Crowding round the cradle, all the relatives, odd and oohed. He ought to pose for a baby food. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Would I tell a lie? It's simply gorgeous, gorgeous. Who'd have ever thought that we would see such a florid gem out of to me skirt like them? Now, every good story has a moral, and this story is no exception. Moral, moral, yes indeed the story has a moral, moral. Though you're not a beauty, it is nevertheless quite true. There may be beautiful things in you. Miskite, listen to the fable of the miskite. Anyone responsible for loveliness, large or small, is not a miskite at all. That was such a beautiful romantic song that Anita sang. Do you notice that all the romantic songs are given to young and beautiful women and young and beautiful men to sing? I am not a young and beautiful man. Ha 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 to you. See what I mean? But I am romantic. I may not look romantic, but there is a churning of romance going on inside of me. And so I will sing a romantic song. Mr. G, would you give me a full moon? Oh, thank you, Mr. G. That's the nicest full moon you ever gave me. You always hurt the one you
Jack Gilford is one of my very favorite actors, a winner of an Oscar nomination for Save the Tiger, Tony nominations for Cabaret, and A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum. He was unforgettable in the world of Shalom Aleichem, and millions of Americans were captivated by his commercials for Cracker Jack. Now Jack Gilford is the star of a new TV comedy called The Duck Factory.
That's all true.
It's all true.
Right? And is it fair to say that it'll be on NBC April 12th?
You can whisper that, it's all right.
Okay. It just slipped out. and shall I tell you what it's about?
Yes.
All right. It's about an animation company that tries to keep its head above the water in making the Saturday morning cartoon successful. And they're a kind of a sleazy, tacky concern. And the boss, in this first episode, the boss has just died, and the young man who's come from Minnesota for a job asks whether he could see Buddy Winkler. And someone looks at the casket that's just being cast, and they say, no, it's too late, we just closed it. And so then we go to the cemetery, and I do a little speech, and it's impossible to say something good about this guy because he is one of the worst bosses in the history of bossism. I went to Buddy and asked him if I could borrow $7,000 for the triple bypass surgery. He sat there and thought about it and said, Frank, you know how he liked to kid us pretending he didn't know our names. Frank, he said, I really would like to do it, but there's this speedboat I got my eye on, and I'm going to have to say no. Of course, I didn't have the operation, which was just great, because it turned out that they mixed up my angiogram with somebody else's. So I'm here to thank Buddy for the fact that I didn't go through any of that unnecessary surgery.
Thank you, Frank.
That's Teresa Ganzel, who said, thank you, Frank. She's a lovely actress, funny and vulnerable, and she's in her 20s, and they have written a romance between us for one of the episodes.
Really?
Which is so touching and funny and tender, and we had a wonderful time doing it.
You're a wonderful comic actor. You started out as a wonderful nightclub mimic and actor, but you've also played very serious pieces. You were in The World of Shalom Aleichem, and you were in The Diary of Anne Frank. What happens when a person who is so great at comedy is given a serious role?
You know, I wish I could explain it to you, really. I've been asked, and I say, I just do it. I think it has to do with knowing where your feelings are and knowing how to broadcast them. If it's a serious thing, I am not ashamed to be serious. I know certain wonderful comedians who find it hard to stop being funny because they think if they don't get a laugh, oh my God. But I don't find it hard at all. And in fact, I enjoy going from one to the other.
One of the most marvelous aspects of Jack Gilford is the plasticity of his face. I mean, you could even imitate the duck from The Duck Factory.
Yes.
If I showed a picture now, if I
Yes.
hadn't had of a duck
Yes.
that is in the show,
Yes, yes.
and I saw that,
Yes.
you could then imitate that duck's face.
You're making me very excited. Yeah.
Go ahead and do it.
Show it. Show the duck.
We'll show it.
And we'll show it first.
There it is.
Ask me something else.
I want to ask you to do something that I love that you
Okay.
do. And I want the people at home to see. Jack Gilford, pantomime mimic, a pot of pea soup coming to a boil.
Thick pea soup.
Thick pea soup.
Coming to a furious boil.
Right.
Thick pea soup coming to a furious boil with croutons. Thick pea soup coming to a furious boil with croutons and ham. To be or not to be, that is the question, whether it is noble of the mind to... There you have it.
You once did an impression of a very sleepy man on a subway.
Yes.
Who is desperate not to fall asleep lest he pass his station that he had to get off.
Right.
Can you do that?
Well,
for me?
he lives in Coney Island, which is one end of the city, and he works in the Bronx, which is another, and he's been working so hard that every time he comes to his own station, he's been falling asleep and waking up, and he's made up his mind that he positively will not fall asleep, no matter how.
That's your owl.
No, this is the owl. Or would you rather see an eagle who has been told that his teenage daughter is pregnant? Okay, this is the man trying to keep awake. the fast version, you know. I usually do it in 2 acts.
Jack Gilford, we're all looking forward to the Duck Factory. I wish you wonderful times on the show. I wish you a lot of success with the show, and I hope you do very well with that young actress with whom you are now going to have a romance.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, there were 3 women of Florida describing what wonderful... Mr. President. Mr. President. Mr. President.